See in today's video. So this is the T-80 main battle tank out of Russia. It's armed with a 125 millimeter tank cannon there. Very powerful vehicle.
So some really early gameplay footage, though, by the way, that we're seeing here.
Yeah, this is all pre-alpha.
Okay.
So this is the Challenger 2 main battle tank out of the United Kingdom. It's a very heavily armored vehicle. That's the Palmyra. It's an artillery unit from Italy, actually.
Oh, so some authentic tanks.
Yeah, so these are all real-world vehicles.
Wow, that's so awesome.
Yeah. So this is the M109A6 Paladin, an artillery piece in use by the United States today, actually. So that's a very modern
America. Awesome.
So this is the Stingray 2. It's an example of a modern light tank. Very lightly armored compared to some of the things we've been looking at, but it's a lot quicker as a result. Still armored with a very powerful cannon. This is the FE510 here. It's a armored fighting vehicle from the United Kingdom.
Mm-hmm.
And it features a smaller barrel there. That's actually an autocannon, which means it fires very rapidly. This is the BMP-3, a armored fighting vehicle out of Russia. And that tube there on the top is actually an anti-tank guided missile launcher. And we'll see those in play today, too. This is the LAV-150, an example of a wheeled vehicle in our game. This is also a armored fighting vehicle.
Yeah, those actually all look really, really cool. It's awesome that you've adapted these real vehicles.
Yeah, and we've kind of divided them up with different strengths and weaknesses. This is the M1128 mobile gun system. This is actually a wheeled tank destroyer in use by the United States. This tiny thing is the Weasel 1 from Germany. It's the smallest vehicle in our launch lineup. Sometimes we call it hard mode. This is LAV 600, another wheeled tank destroyer armed with a heavy tank cannon there, but it doesn't have a lot of armor on the hull. So in Armored Warfare, players are going to collect these vehicles, but they're also going to upgrade them. So what we're looking at here is some footage of the Challenger 2, and there's kind of a before and an after shot here. You're seeing the Challenger 2 as it looks when the player first gets it, and then you're seeing what the Challenger 2 looks like when it's been fully upgraded with an armor upgrade kit. So you can see the cage armor applied to the back there. That helps defend the vulnerable locations. And that heavy armor plating on the side, too.
That is too rad. I love that element of depth that you're adding to this game. It seems like, on the surface it seems simple. We got some tanks, and they're, blasting each other, but then, you can upgrade them, and that's so really cool. It's awesome.
And we really want players to see those upgrades as they put them on the vehicle. So in Armored Warfare, players take on the role of a commander of a private military corporation. As that commander, that means every player has their own base, their own arsenal of vehicles, and their own personnel to train and manage. So players are going to make progression through the game by participating in PvE content and taking on PvE missions in cooperative scenarios. Today's example is a 4-player mission against enemy vehicles.
Yeah, I've seen so we got a base here. Is this your base?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so every player's going to have their own base that they're going to manage.
Oh, that's
We're
so
going
tight.
to talk about that more in detail at a later time, but just kind of a sneak peek there.
Oh my gosh, that's so sick. All right, so we got an overhead.
Yeah, so
map
this
here.
is the first map we're going to show off today. We call this map Oil Fields. The teams are actually going to spawn at one of these 3 spawn points that you see on the map there. The primary objective is for the vehicles to move out and take out these 3 weapon storage depots that will be scattered around the map. Players also have a secondary objective, and that is to take out these 3 surface-to-air missile sites within 5 minutes. But the secondary objectives are optional. Players are just encouraged to accomplish them. They would receive more rewards and progress after the mission if they're able to pull them off. So here we are actually jumping into the map itself.
You said earlier this is some of the first gameplay footage that anyone's really ever seen?
Yeah, we haven't shown pure gameplay footage like this today, so this is the first time being able to check it out.
Wow.
Right here at the start, you see a plane getting shot out of the sky, just reinforcing the danger of those surface-to-air missiles that you've been tasked to take out.
Yeah, he's having a bad time.
Yeah. So on the side there, you'll see the players have their objectives list, including the secondary objective of taking out those surface-to-air missiles. They have 5 minutes to do it, otherwise the next flight of planes are going to get shot down. So that's part of the background narrative of kind of what players are engaged here.
We nailed them.
So here we have the T-80 with its trusty battle log in the back there. That's the Russian main battle tank.
Now, can you switch between tanks?
No, each player is in control of an individual tank. We're just switching camera view just to give you an idea of kind of how the different vehicles are playing.
Perfect.
This is the Stingray 2, and what he did there is he actually just fired off some smoke grenades. Smoke grenades provide essentially temporary cover from being spotted by the enemy, and so he's able to do that. You can use that opportunity to go take some cover or get out of the line of sight or finish someone off before they can see you. It's kind of one of the examples of different options the players have to equip their vehicles with.
And I see a couple different views here, like they're using different cannons.
Yeah, well, they're able to switch to a first-person view to line up those shots a little easier.
Okay.
So this vehicle here is actually the Leopard 2A5. It's a main battle tank, a very powerful machine out of Germany. Mounted on the back of his turret there is an example of another piece of modern military technology. You can see that little thing sticking up in the back there. That's
R2-D2 looking?
Yeah, it's an active protection system. It's designed to intercept and shoot down incoming enemy missiles. So it's a powerful defensive option available to some of the higher tier vehicles in the game.
Cool. Actually looked a lot more like Wally.
Yeah, it's Wally, but he shoots missiles down. So
tight.
It's wartime Wally. So here we have the M1128 MGS we talked about a little earlier. He's just taking some long-distance shots there. So we actually model the armor on these vehicles. So there are vulnerable points. There are hard points that are very difficult to do damage to.
Okay.
So players will typically want to go for either sides or the backs of the vehicles because the fronts tend to be a lot more armored. And he took some damage there, took a pretty heavy hit.
Yeah, I see
tank
that.
status is down on the bottom left there. And the yellow highlighted items are kind of some of the damaged items.
Okay.
And players can actually repair some of their damaged components. So things like treads can be broken, the engine could be damaged, maybe your cannon's damaged. That's a very bad time. But players are able to repair those and get back into the match at least once per match, provided they bring in the proper equipment with them.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool.
So he's being targeted by some enemy artillery there. You saw that shot coming in from a distance from somewhere.
Yeah, it looks like he was taking a little bit of cover.
Yeah,
exactly. So you kind of have to calculate some of your shots there.
Yeah, those arcing projectiles, they can be intercepted by either a building or a hill or the terrain or something like that. So kind of have to find that right angle of fire in order to get those shots on these mobile guys. But for them, the team has to use the cover defensively in order to not be taken out by the long-distance fire. So they cleared out the objectives down in the southern area of the map there. They're now going to go ahead and move on up towards the north. You can see on the mini-map in the bottom right, those large blue circles kind of indicate the next points of where the objectives are. So again, this is that Leopard 2A5 with the active protection system on the back. Leopard 2A5 was actually the first vehicle that we modeled internally. So it's kind of always been our test bed for every new feature we put in the game, including that camo net that you can see on it. It just fired an anti-tank guided missile. It's got the active protection system on it. So it's kind of always been like every company come up with a new military toy to put in the game, it usually goes on this tank first. It's just kind of been a fun tradition at this point.
Oh, sick, a little water action.
Yeah, as long as it's shallow enough, you're okay. You don't want to. This thing is not going to go swimming in the lake.
It's not going to James Bond just straight up turn into a boat and
No.
just take you wherever you want to go. Forget it, I'm out of this battle, guys.
Yeah.
Not even trying. I'm done.
Just bailing. No, so it's safe in the shallow water though. So that's totally fine.
That's cool. That's awesome. There's a ton of different terrain. This map seems pretty complicated here, or not complicated, but like diverse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is just one of the examples of many environments that we're featuring here in the game. You know, we're all taking the players to some traditional desert-looking style maps, some interesting-looking refineries and factories. We have a port city is one of the maps as well. We also have a winter snow blanket city. So a lot of variety on the different maps, and the artists go crazy with just making them look awesome.
We nailed them.
So there he's firing again the anti-tank guided missiles. Those are slower projectiles, but they hit a lot harder. Now you see the blinking on the side there for the secondary objective. They're just out of time.
Yes.
They only got 2 out of the 3 surface-to-air missile launchers, so unfortunately, one of those planes isn't going to make it out of here. Yeah, it's way to go, team.
Yeah, great job, guys.
Yeah. But you know, ideally the players will take out all 3 of those and get those planes across safely and receive the additional reward too. They're just mopping up the last enemies around this last objective here. This is again that Stingray 2, the little light tank.
Yeah, so they're on the destroy the munitions weapon because the secondary objective, it's over.
Yeah, missed the boat on that one.
Okay.
But as I mentioned before, those are optional. You can still complete the map.
If you just want to save people, you know, it's cool.
Yeah, it'd be good to do that, you know, if you could, while you're out there. No, but the primary objectives are really the mandatory things in order to be successful.
Okay.
And then the secondary objectives typically have some type of challenge element to them, so not everyone's going to be able to do them every time. In this case, it was a timer. Some of it might require synchronization or coordination or some other extra element that's going to require players to work together in order to pull it off.
Speaking of extra elements, I do see an interesting challenge over there, destroy an enemy vehicle while ramming into it. So there's also some collision damage.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's so the vehicles can ram each other and do damage. Challenges that, like the one listed there, is something players have for themselves. So he has that challenge. The other players do not have that challenge necessarily. They may have some other challenge.
Okay.
But yeah, there's definitely ramming damage, collision damage, things like that. In fact, There is, in this example, we actually unfortunately have some friendly ramming damage. That Stingray 2 is getting a little too close there, and he ran into the back of the other guy and blew up. So not looking good there for the team. We do have respawns in this example, though. The PvE mode would feature respawns, even though the PvP mode, you'd pretty much have your one shot and you don't want to blow it. So that's a little bit of generosity on the play versus environment side. So they're moving in on the final area here, the last circle on the mini-map. Some of them are kind of low on health, so they're going to want to be pretty careful there. So he's going to throw out the smoke grenades, give himself some cover. That'll keep him from taking some shots from the enemy there, provided he's at a good angle. So here we have, he's aiming at that surface-to-air missile silo. It's unfortunately empty. That's a spike kill anyway. Not going to get credit for that, but whatever. Makes up for missing it earlier, maybe.
Hey man, whatever. Sometimes you just gotta blow something up, right?
that'll teach it.
All right, so sending some more. Seems pretty far, like some long distance stuff. This is like a lot of ranged action. Of course, they're tanks. They're tanks. Of course, there's gonna be some ranged action, but yeah, there's some seriously awesome long distance shots here. Yeah,
so the players can go into that first person perspective just to better align up that shot. So it looks like they're gonna blink the area with smoke grenades here, get some final cover while they mop up those final enemy vehicles. But yeah, the vehicles are designed to engage at a variety of ranges, so they can, like, especially those tank destroyers I was talking about earlier, very, very high accuracy from a long distance. Vehicles with anti-tank guided missiles, you can guide those in from long range, also very effective.
Now remind us again for people that might have just popped in and maybe they just got here 5 minutes ago and they're like, wait, what am I watching right now? Watching Armored Warfare, of course, and there's quite a few different tanks, like you just said. There's these long distance tanks.
Yeah, so here you have this main battle tank here and another one to the side. We got the tank destroyers on the wheels over there, and then a small light tank in this match. So we're not showing the artillery one in this, and we also don't have a armored fighting vehicle in this particular match.
Okay, and there's